everybody, and welcome back to another great edition of my Grue Rume Show. And for the Grue Rume Show today, I got a really awesome guest. He's a wrestling promoter, and he owns Battleground Championship Wrestling. And I'm talking about Timothy and Embler. I am Rocco Cross. I am the host at Stutters. I am the host of the Grue Room, and my interview with Timothy will be coming up very soon. This is my Grue Room, and as always, welcome to my nightmare. So stay tuned. Okay, buddy, welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate
Now,
it.
what exactly is the name of this thing again? What's the name of it? Grue? What is that?
The Grue Room Show. It stands for gruesome because I'm a horror fan. So
Oh, I see. I thought that all right, never mind. Wasn't that one of the shows you were trying to get on Nickelodeon? Oh, never mind. It's so weird because the last time you were on my phone like this, you were on my
mhm.
surveillance camera because you were trying to break into my house. But other
That's
than
that's
that,
true. That's
other than that, just calling the police. So Rocco, what's up, man?
nothing
Let's
much,
do
buddy.
this.
Yeah, I love the Kiss shirt.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm not going to dominate this. I'm not going to dominate the interview. I'm going to let you do the interview. I'm not going to
Okay,
ask the questions. You ask the questions.
okay. It sounds
So
like
anyway, what's
Rowdy Piper over here,
going on?
right?
So, what were you like growing up as a kid? Just kidding.
Me? Very very crazy.
Really? Helter Skelter? Did people know that in the Groom Show?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
or is
yeah,
that a
of
secret?
course.
Oh, okay. I don't know if that's like your secret life that you hide from people. Like
No,
when
it's
you're
not.
home and you're all by yourself, you put the makeup on and walk around.
You
All
know,
right, so go ahead. I'm gonna let you do this now.
there 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 have been times when I would leave a wrestling show and I would be in full face paint and wrestling outfit because I needed to catch the train before I was stuck in the city.
Man, I remember you back in the day, man. You were you were something else, man. I just a lot. I don't know. You were definitely in the fabric of that time. Like that time's gone. Like a lot of people
Oh
from
yeah,
that time aren't around anymore.
I
You know, you
know.
got Kashmir still around. Like you got a few of them, but like it's so crazy how the indie wrestling like changes. Like when you get it's sort of like high school. Like
Hmm.
you get a whole new crop, and then it's like all those people like that were around back then. They're just like kind of fade away, like guys that
Oh
never
yeah.
made it. You just like you forget about them, and it's so like then when one of them pops up, like nobody knows who they are. It's definitely it's definitely an interesting thing. Like you think like it's really not that long ago in the grand scheme of
I
things,
know.
but like it just seems like it's like a whole different time frame, like the way things used to be. But I don't want to date myself too bad. But go ahead.
Yeah, cause I see how like all these younger stars now, like they are so good. Like they jump all over the ring and like I would never be able to keep up with them.
No, I mean it's just I mean the whole industry has changed. It's just things you thought of 20 years ago just now are just like I mean I get like now that I never envisioned myself as like a promoter and running a company. I never back in the day, like I would just be in the corner selling merchandise like
Hmm.
and I was totally content with that. And I was just like, because wrestling was never really like my life. Like a lot of these guys, like a lot of these guys who I know now are like, I call them wrestling people. And I think
Hmm.
like wrestling can like mess their heads up a little bit when you spend like too much time into it. It's an ego thing. It's just a very strange atmosphere, like deal with people who like spend their whole lives, not so much wrestlers. I mean, like people in the industry, like it's just, I don't know. The wrestling people are not like one of the things I'm fond of in the out of the business. But I love the fans and I love creating and I love doing it, everything like that. But go ahead. I told you I'm not going to dominate the
It's
conversation.
all good. It's all good. Like I wanted to ask you, like, when did you start watching wrestling? Like, who were some of the guys that
Oh man,
made
I was a
made you like
Hulkamaniac.
it?
I was a Hulkamaniac. Like if it wasn't
Hulk
for Hulk
Hogan, yeah.
Hogan, I wouldn't be a wrestling fan. And but for me, there was a big tie-in with comic books. Like when I was young, I loved comics, and I still do to a certain extent. I don't read them
Oh,
like
good.
as much as I don't really have time. But when I was a kid, I loved comics, and when I first got exposed to wrestling, like that was sort of a connection. Was like a live comic book, and the Hulk Hogan like just looked like somebody who I would be
Oh,
in
yeah.
like Marvel or DC, and that's what drew me in as a kid, and then I fell in love with it from there. And it came and went with me. Like there would be times where I'd be like super into it. Like
Mhm.
I loved the when Hogan went to WCW in 1994 to 1996 before he went NWO. That
Oh, yeah.
two-year time frame, I loved that. Like I love kind of like the cheesy, corny Dungeon of Doom. Like I
Oh,
kind of like
God,
that
yeah, I
kind of
remember
stuff.
that.
Like yeah, look at that. Like you can see like little reflections of that. I try not to go too overboard with my product, but
Hmm.
it's really hard because that's what I like. So sometimes like I'll leave some like some stuff into that where I'm like, sometimes I got to pull back because not all the fans like, fans want to see like athleticism and younger talent and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So I've come a long way when it comes to like, putting my finger on the pulse of like what fans want to see. So, I think and Battleground has changed and evolved over the last like 2, 3 years, and it's going to continue to change and evolve over the next however long I feel like doing this. I don't
Okay,
really
there you
have a
go.
time. I really don't have a time frame. Like it could be, like this isn't like I'm not a lifer. Like I'm not going to be 65, like,
Yeah.
showing up at wrestling, like, God bless him, Frank Goodman, like, like that, like I'm not going to be like one of these like old timers, like hanging around the business until I'm like old and gray. I got a few good years that I wanted to accomplish some stuff, and then who knows? But yeah, so catch us while we can. Catch it, catch me while you can. All right, go ahead, Rocco.
Definitely. Definitely. So, how did you first break into the world of wrestling?
Well, for me, it all started with merchandise. It started with me wanting to be around. Like, I didn't want to be a fan. There was
Hmm.
just something about like me wanting to be on the inside of what was going on when I was young, and so I came up with this scheme that I would get a merchandise stand, and then they'd let me in early, and I could meet everybody and like being a total mark. And so that's what I did. And like, I got broken in by like some people who took care of me because they could have tried to take advantage of you with money and charge you like all these crazy stuff. But
Yeah.
that's what I did. And I kind of learned like, just watching and like, getting to know like the inside of the business and how it works because I'm super intelligent. I don't know if you know that, Rocco.
Oh, yeah, of course I
My
do.
IQ is like, it can't even be measured. I'm so intelligent. So I just started picking up on stuff and like, so, and from there, one thing would always lead to the next where I felt like, okay, well, I'll never go any bigger than I am now. And then a year later, I was doing something else, and I was like, okay, this is it. This is my. And then it would always just continue and continue and continue. Like I
Hmm.
was doing stuff where I was like, when TNA first started, I was doing merchandise for them. I was one of the only merchandise guys. Jeremy Borash worked there. He was sending me merchandise. I was selling it
Oh,
for him.
wow.
I was like their outlet. Like it was so cool to do that. I
Wow.
was seeing like, yeah, I was like their hub for a while when he did a house when he did an ECW reunion show in 2005, and I got to
Oh,
do all the merchandise for that show. And then we went on the road. We went to Cleveland, we went to Pittsburgh, and I was on the road with these guys. I got to know
oh my
Jerry
God.
Lynn, a lot of the guys like who still remember me from that time then, and that really like opened my eyes to like, wow, I'm on the road, like I'm making money and I'm doing stuff like whatever, whatever. And then just little like ebbs and flows like that. And then I ended up getting involved with House of Hardcore with Tommy Dreamer,
Hmm.
and then I started getting involved with like the business side of it, like as far as like handling money and handling payrolls and handling ticket sales and stuff like that. I was basically like the company's accountant, and
Oh,
but that was not fulfilling for me because the creative is what I'm drawn to. That's what I wanted to do. I would have like, and it's not to play fantasy booker, but it's just I'm a alpha. That's what I am. I need to be in charge. I just have to be. And if I'm not in charge, I don't want to do it because I'm a baby.
All right.
Take your ball and go home. And if I can't, and I couldn't be in charge there, like, and so that's what. And I don't want to get into like the semantics of how it ended, but it didn't. It just ended, and it wasn't
Yeah.
for me. And
Yeah.
it basically like if I had the nuts and bolts of it looking back, it was that reason. I was never going to be Tom Dreamer. I was never going to be able to book. I was never going to be able to do anything with talent. So it just I lost interest, and that's that happens. Like I can be super into something on Saturday and then be super not into it on Sunday. Luckily that hasn't happened with this, but it definitely can happen with me. I just changed and like the things, and it's been happening my whole life with things that I've done and been into. But when I got a taste of it, when I got a taste of like the creative side, I wanted more and more and more and more, and then
Mhm.
more control, more control. Then I was like, okay, I can't do this with partners. I can't do this with anybody else. I have to do this by myself. That's where
Oh
I am
yeah.
right now. Um, you know, I'll be making an announcement after WrestleMania. I'll be making announcements about like the whole rebrand of Battleground and me going forward. Impact Wrestling has like 17 production trucks, and they got a $1 million company that backs them, and
Yes.
MLW's got TV, and you go there
Yes.
and they're shooting TV. Little old Battleground's got nothing. They got me and the fans, and that's it. And there's no backer. There's no big money backer. There's my ideas. Hopefully, I can afford them, and the fans are gonna love it, and that's it. So like I feel like I'm at a disadvantage when it comes to that stuff, but I feel like I'm at an advantage where I feel I'm closer to the fans. These
Oh,
guys,
definitely.
these like Impact shows up and MLW. I'm not taking any. I'm not. I've had my run-ins with MLW, but I'm not. I'm over that. So,
Hmm.
they roll in with their production trucks and all that stuff, and
Oh
like
yeah.
they put
Yeah.
on a show, and the fans can pop for it. You go to the shows, and they're fun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Exactly.
I just feel like they're doing a show here, and then tomorrow they're going to do a show somewhere else and somewhere else. And I think that's what wrestling's all about. It's like a traveling circus. And I think
Hmm.
like me being at the arena constantly, like I'm getting to know the fans. Like we're like they message me on social media. We talk. I call them the
Yeah.
Battleground family, and I mean that. There's something to connecting with people like on a different level than just here's a show, buy a t-shirt. Okay, we're off to Chicago now. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not running any other towns. I'm not running New York City. I'm not running Manhattan. I don't want to. I'm at 2300 Arena until they tell me I can't run there anymore. And if the place closes, then I'm finished. I don't want to
Oh
do,
wow.
I won't run another building besides that building. So,
Wow.
and I've gotten to know, like, and I feel like the people have connected with me and I'm connecting with them and we're building something together. We're like, maybe I'll have 400 fans or maybe I'll have 600 fans, whatever. Maybe I'll sell it out. But like, I just feel like there's something more to Battleground than just what other companies that come in there give. I think there's more of a personal feel to what
Oh, it
the give and
definitely
take
is.
between me and the people.
Yeah.
You've said
That's
like 2 words. I thought this was your show. Is this my show? I don't even need you here. I could just click you off.
you can. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, 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 no. This is the Grue Rume Show or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
You need to come
It's
up with a
close
better
enough.
name. That's like Seinfeld. You ever see Seinfeld when they called the water Molin Springs? Like that's a horrible name. Got to come up with something with a little more zip. All right, go ahead.
But, I mean, all the stuff you just mentioned, like that's what I love about going to the shows, going to your shows. It's you run in one place, you run like every couple months, and you have a can connection to the fans like a lot of the owners of other wrestling promotions don't. Like they just come in there, do their job, move on to the next town, just like you said. But you're there, you're walking around the whole place, you're in the ring on the microphone, you're checking stuff out, and you got a special connection with the crowd, and that's what I like about Battleground.
Yeah, I mean, I always make sure that I come out at the end to
Hmm.
thank everybody, and to talk to people, get their reactions, because not everybody's gonna like it, and if somebody doesn't like it, I want to hear that too.
Yeah.
Like it's a tricky thing, with not an endless budget and with restraints on doing certain things. Like it's hard for me to give young talent a look, because I get 8 matches, like you say, every 3 months, and I'm going to start changing that. I want to start running more, so I can
Okay.
maybe smaller shows, so I can develop talent and give like younger. I get messages all the time. People want to come work, and I can't even, I watch their stuff, but I can't, like, when you're doing 8 matches, and like, you get a lot of regulars, like,
Mhm.
and now I got like Lance Anoy and Juicy and all these guys, they're all going to get their matches, and before you know
Oh
it,
yeah.
the show is booked,
Yeah,
and I
true.
don't like that. I want to, I want to be able to grow talent, but the connection with the fans is really important to me. I mean, some might not get it, some might, but I think, like, the fact that I care, like, I mean, I did a show, and I gave away tickets for $10, like
Oh yeah, I know, I
for
remember that.
Christmas. I mean, I'm just being straight up. I lost money on that show. Like I lost, not, I mean, not, I didn't have to sell my house, but I lost money on that show, and I didn't care. I didn't care at all. Like, it was just, that was my way to say thank and I can do cheaper shows, and that's why I want to start running like different times. I'm going to announce all that after WrestleMania, but I am not a money guy. Like,
Hmm.
you have to make money because it's a business, so there has to be some sort of money coming in to keep the doors open. But to me, like, it can be a minimal amount of money to keep the doors rolling. And somebody on the other day on some message board called me a money mark, and
Wait, what?
that's not, yeah, I got called a money mark, and that's not true at all.
I know, I
I'm
know.
very conscious of like what I'm doing as far as like payroll and stuff like that. And like, I
Mm.
don't, it looks like, oh, you're bringing in Ken Shamrock, you're bringing in Rob Van Dam, you must have, like, you're a money mark, you're spending so much money, which is true, but like every ends has its means. And I think, like, in order to balance the show, like, you have to spend money. Like, if you're not going to spend
Yeah.
money, then you're just going to be some indie that draws 80 fans, and like, you're gonna, I don't use ticket sellers, or like, I don't have a school, I don't have students, I don't have any of that kind of stuff. Like, it's just me, and especially going forward, it's just me. So, I'm very conscious of budget, but by the same token, like, I can't expect not to spend money. I just have
Yeah.
to hope that where I'm putting my money delivers. Because if you make a really big investment on somebody and it doesn't pay off, I take that hit. Like, I'm the one that's taking the financial risk, and I'll take it. I'll take it all day long, because I'm going to bet on me, and I'm going to bet on the fans. So, I think that by this point I know what I'm doing, but sometimes I swing and miss. Sometimes I mess up. I'll admit it.
I
Uh,
think you know what you're doing because I mean you're putting on show after show. All the shows have been great, and you do a wrestling convention first, and then the wrestling show. So I I think you're doing good with that.
yeah, the model that I'm using for WrestleMania is I'm doing a show in the afternoon, and then I'm doing a mini convention in the middle, and then I'm doing a show at night. I want to do that format again, because it worked for Mania, obviously,
Hmm.
but would it work for not for Mania? And I need to
Oh.
know that. So, just here, there's a little scoop for you. That format will be happening again for the next shows. There's going to be a
Oh
show
wow.
during the day, and that's going to have a special theme to it. Then there's going to be a convention, and then there's going to be a show at night. So you're getting 2 shows and a mini con for the next
Oh.
event.
Damn. Okay. At
Yeah.
like the first con that you ran, it was a mixture. It was wrestling and a whole bunch of other stuff, right?
Well, that was the original plan, was to do like a wrestling Comic Con. That was the
Yeah.
original plan. It was called Collector Fest because that's what I used to do up by me. I used to run these small little Comic Cons, and I had experience doing that. So,
Oh, all
but
right.
the thing is like when you like Shawn Michaels was booked and a whole bunch of wrestlers, and all the vendors came out, and all the vendors brought in wrestlers, and before you know it, like the whole place was filled with wrestlers. And I tried to give it an element with like comic book artists and things like that, but it just nobody cared. It was all anybody wanted was wrestling. So,
Yeah.
that's another. I could have forced it, but like the fans were saying, and it wasn't. It was a different scene. Like now, like the convention market is very overrun. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing and changing the format. I think like doing like a more of a meet and greet instead of a
Mm-hmm.
full blown convention, when there are conventions pretty much somewhere every weekend now.
Oh my
Conventions
God,
are
I
have
know.
become commonplace, and not saying it's good or bad, but it's not unique anymore. And when something's not unique, you are competing against yourself. So, and
You're
I
right.
think like what I mean by that is icons has been around for so long, people expect a certain thing. And if you don't deliver a 20, 30, $40,000 guest, and you bring in a Booker T or a Kurt Angle, who would headline most conventions,
Oh yeah.
but now you bring them into icons and the fans are so jaded, they're like, who else? Who's next?
Because
And
they're
I
at
get
a lot of different cons.
Yeah, because like,
Yeah.
oh well, you should be bringing in, like a big event spends X amount of dollars on Stacy Keebler, who's, just a fortune. I would never do that. Like
Hmm.
I would never spend that kind of money on one guest. It just you destroy everything else. Then there's no wrestling show. Then you got to cut corners on everything else. And good for them, it works for them, but it doesn't work for me. And I still think like people want to go to conventions, and I still think like there's a viable market, but it's definitely watered down. And it's definitely not the same as it used to be. Like you can't throw out like Kurt Angle and have call him a headliner, and like you get backlash, and then the vendors give you backlash, and they think like I had a conversation with a vendor, and he was like yelling at me, telling me Booker T wasn't a headliner, and I'm not going to name who it was, but I'm just
Oh
saying, and I'm
wow.
I'm getting I'm getting all this like this negative feedback, and in the meantime, like if you if they if this is such a thing and who's the headliner, you bring them. You know,
Yeah.
like you want to spend 30 grand on somebody, you bring them. Here's the venue. So that's one of the things that is kind of a turn off to conventions now. Like so, with me booking an entire afternoon show and booking an entire night show, there's enough talent there. You're talking 16 matches. You're talking there's 35 wrestlers right there.
Oh yeah.
You bring them all in for a meet and greet. You don't need like, and the meet and greet will have themes and food and all kinds of gimmicks and fun stuff other than just meeting wrestlers. So people want to come and like it's a party, like the block party. And people want
Exactly.
to come and do
Exactly.
like just hang out and like and I don't even charge. If you buy a ticket, it's free. So if you come to the afternoon show, you just come and you hang out at the party. And so it's a different concept than a con charging $30 to get in, and like
Hmm.
hoping you make your money back on a big money guest, like all that stuff. One of the things that I don't like is I don't like status quo, and to me conventions are very stale and they're very status quo. I don't even go to them anymore. I mean, I'm going to start going to them again just to network, but
Yeah. Yeah. Of
it's
course.
just a different feel. And I think like and no negativity from all the people that came up and started conventions, but there's just too many of them.
There's there's a
And
lot.
that's not
Oh,
there's too many.
there's
It's
a
not my
lot.
opinion. That's just fact. I mean, there's too many of them. So
Yeah.
so
And
go ahead.
like you were saying, I see every time like when you post like you're doing a con and you want fans to guess who's coming in. I start laughing because I see like fans put down like Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve
Well, fans are
Austin.
fans. Fans are fans, and fans want to see, you know, the Undertaker did big event, and like so they think like, well, you can get him too, and it's just like, no, you can't, you know, like and there's just you know, it's just different. It's different. It's such big money and it's such a big risk. It's just I'm just not, you know, I'll take a risk and like you know running three shows like with a convention in the middle, that's a big risk.
It
You know, that's
is.
a lot of money laying on the line right there. And, you know, you better deliver or you're going to take a major hit. You know, I
Mhm.
didn't take a major hit on that $10 show because I booked it accordingly, but I still didn't make money. And so, you know, and that's not what, you know, I don't need to come home with thousands of dollars in my pocket. You know, I just need to I definitely want to break even. So I want to get that, you know, I want to do that. I never want to lose money because if I continuously start to lose money, then I'll lose interest. It's just
Oh yeah,
it
of
goes hand
course,
it
of
goes hand in
course.
hand. So you make enough money where you're happy, but you know, you also you have to be really, really, really smart about what you're doing. And you have to try I have to try to read the crowd and try to do different things. And that's what I'm like Battleground has been a certain way up until this point and it's going to be changing. It's going to go different. I'm debuting a brand new title on.
Oh,
Yes, there's going to be a brand new title on for Born to Die, and that title is going to have a specific theme, and it's going to create a different way that the show is going to go. And there's going to be like you know we're going to add new elements and new talent. Like I definitely want to bring in more like guys that people have never seen. I already have. I've already
yeah,
booked.
yeah.
The night show is pretty much like 80% booked. I'm waiting on a couple of things,
Oh, okay.
but I've already booked it, and I love it. So you know, but whether that'll translate, we'll see. We'll see. Rocco,
Wow.
listen, you got 10 minutes,
Oh,
10 minutes to
okay.
go because I got to give the
The
bunnies what
bunnies.
water. I know that sounds ridiculous, but so hit me with some fast movers.
Definitely, definitely. And the one thing I want to ask is like, what do you love about like doing these cons and putting on wrestling shows?
The satisfaction of seeing smiles on fans' faces, and that sounds so fake. That sounds so fake, but it is so not fake. Like
Well,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
so not fake. I love tweaking the haters because there when you're in this business, you get haters. Like I made a
Oh my
pop of
God, there's so
myself.
many.
I made a Funko Pop of myself, not because I wanted a Funko Pop of myself. I just wanted to see the hate. I wanted to see the reaction, and I got it, and it was great. And I have no regrets because I just like I think with this business, one of the bad things about it, people can't keep to themselves. Like you know
Hmm.
what? One of the things I never get is like you'll see somebody take a picture, and they even do it with AEW or indie shows, like
Yeah.
take a picture of a crowd, like a bad crowd,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
exactly. I know.
such
I see that.
joy, such
Uh-huh.
joy out of that. Like, oh, I'll show you. I humiliate. Look at you. You can't draw. Listen, you want to take like if Battleground drew 50 fans and those 50 fans had the time of their life, you take all the pictures you want and you badmouth that company all you want. I
Hmm.
did my job.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
everybody was there, was happy, I'm happy. Now, sure, I won't be happy the next day when I can't afford gas for my car, but other than that, but that's the thing. Like stop worrying about what other people are
I
doing.
know.
Focus on your own self. Stop bad mouthing people online. Stop attacking people. I'm when I this whole move that I'm making, I am basically going to dig a moat around Battleground. And all the wrestling people that I told you about, I don't
Hmm.
want them around. I want vendors I like. I want
Yeah.
people who are kind and considerate and happy to be there. I don't want these lifelong egomaniac wrestling people around. And I'm not singling out anybody. That doesn't mean anybody. So don't take it like that. I'm just saying in general. And the wrestlers too. Like, you know, the wrestlers that are all out to, you know, to make every single dollar they can and they don't want to give back to the fans. I don't want you either. You know, I want to create for the first time that I've ever seen a atmosphere that where everybody feels safe, happy, and wants to be there. For the money, yes, you're getting paid, but you also want to be there.
Well,
That
yeah,
means so
exactly.
much to me. and the fans can pick up on that. The fans feel it. Like I think, like you see when Brian Kendrick wins the title, and
Yes.
he stays out there for like 20 minutes to a half an hour, just taking selfies with
Oh yeah,
people.
I know.
And when he walks in the back, he looks at me, and I thank him, and he's got tears in his eyes. And we hug, and it was such an amazing moment for him to win that title, and he was
Mhm.
so appreciative. And that's what I'm talking about, that kind of passion. And it's out there in a lot of different people. You just have to find it, and you have to weed through it. And I think I've been in this business long enough where I've done that. So let's build a moat around Battleground. There'll be a bridge where you can get in and out, but we're going to keep all the negative out. We're only going to let the
Definitely.
positive in. I might have to keep you out too because you're kind of like you have a predator vibe. I'm
Oh
just,
no.
I'm just kidding.
Damn.
I'm just,
Okay.
I'm just kidding, Rocco. You know, I'm just kidding.
I
You know, I love you.
know.
I was talking about you the other day. I was like, I said, man, I said, yeah, I'm going to do Rocco's show that no one watches, and and I said, but I'll tell you what, every single time I see you, and this is like you're always happy. Now you're either medicated or you're just really happy, and that's awesome. And I love that about you. That's one of my favorite things. I was just talking about that the other day with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just love going to wrestling shows, like being a former person that wrestled, and like every time I'm at a wrestling show, it just brings me joy. I love it whether I'm in the ring or watching it from the stands.
And you can tell, like you can definitely tell, and you're in your element and you're happy. So like
Yeah,
all I have to
definitely.
do is figure out a way to clone like 400 more of you, and we'll be good. I mean, there won't be a lot of women at the thing because they'll be scared. But but that's all I need to do is like find 400 more of you, and then I'll have my utopia of wrestling that I'm looking for. I'm just looking for like and you're never gonna please every fan, but like
No,
just like I don't want like the negative stuff and like it just the going on the internet and bashing and this and that. That's what I just so want to get away from that. It's going to be impossible because it just
yeah,
is the
because
way it is. But I'll do my best. I'll do
there
my best.
there's so many people that just want to sit on their keyboards and talk shit about everybody. So you're never gonna get rid of that.
No, no, you'll never get rid of it. It's part of the industry. It's part of the fabric of what it has become. I think social media is a huge reason why. I think it's easy to like be mad at something and then instead of thinking it through, you just hop on social
Mhm.
media and you just let it go. And you don't
Exactly.
realize like actually what you're doing is really detrimental to your reputation and who you are. Like sometimes you just like, before social media, you got mad, maybe you took a walk around your house and like,
Mhm.
just got to think about it. But now there's no filter anymore. Like I'm
Oh, I know.
mad, so here I go.
I
And
know.
then like,
I know.
before you know it, like it all snowballs. And that's one of the really bad things. I mean, I love social media. It's a great vehicle to advertise and to get the word out and tweak people and do all kinds of stuff. But that's the negative of it.
Oh, definitely. And and like Vince and Eric Bischoff and everyone, like the own some once in a while the owners of the league like to get in the ring and mix it up. Will we ever see Tim taking a bump in the ring?
I don't I would be very safe to say no, you will never see me take a bump. You will never. I am so fragile. Like it and I've made a lot of great friends. I don't think there's anybody in the business who I would trust with giving me like a bump. Like so the answer to that is you can never say never, like 100%, but I really don't you'll never see me get physical. Like I think like I think even me going out on the and getting on the mic and like addressing the crowd gets people always a promoter he's putting himself over. But I don't look at it that way. I don't take anything away from the show. I'm good at what I do. I'm
Yeah.
good at with a microphone in my hand, and I'm connecting with people. So I don't. That's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. And the thing about Vince, they're all characters. Like there's no
Well,
team
yeah,
member
exactly.
character. This is me. Like. The same,
Yeah.
like I'm a little trumped up in the ring, but that guy in the ring is the same guy you're talking to now.
Oh,
So
definitely. Yeah.
there's no character. Like everything out there is legit. Like there'll be angles, but there's no character.
And I'll ask you last question. I know you. I know you have to take care of your kids.
I do. I do. You got one more, make it count.
Okay.
Don't ask
Well,
me something weird.
I mean, this is kind of weird though,
All
because
right, it's okay.
every time I have a guest on, I ask them this. Uh, with all my horror stuff, are there any horror movies that you like to watch?
I am a horror fan. I am a horror fan. I think like my all-time favorite are the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Like
Oh, Freddy, yeah,
I liked Freddy, but I also, the Freddy versus Jason, I really liked that when they
that
fought.
was really good.
Yes, it was kind of cheesy, but that's what I like.
Yeah,
And I always liked Jason. I always thought he was misunderstood, Jason Voorhees, but he had no personality, and Freddy had a big personality. So sort of like how this interview is. You're like Jason, I'm like Freddy. So
true.
I
I'm
mean,
Jason and
it's
you're
okay.
Freddy.
It's your interview, and I'm carrying you, so it's okay. No, it's no big deal. I'm used to it. So, but yeah, I do like horror. I do. I love. I think the best thing I like about horror is not so much like a favorite movie or anything like that, but I love going to the theater and watch like the movies, and like maybe there's only like maybe 10 people in the theater, but it's a real like
Mm,
a creepy movie, and like
exactly.
everybody's so into it, and those big jump scares, and like how everybody's like reacts. I love going to like stuff like that, like especially around Halloween, or if like it's packed and everybody's talking and everybody's like really super into it and reacting to the movies. Those kind of stuff is just amazing to me. But if I had to pick two favorite, it would be Freddy and Jason are probably my two favorite big four. They're probably like most people's because they're the biggest. But I definitely like the genre, and anytime I can get to the movies, which I don't really have a lot of time because of my bunnies, but when I can get to the movies, I always have a good time.
You should sneak them into the theater.
Man, they're so skittish. Baby Bunny is actually sick right now. Like he's gonna be fine. Like they're so fragile. Like there's something like
Oh,
he's got like a little belly ache, so I got to give him medicine. They're like babies, but like worse because they're just so fragile. It's so hard to
oh,
take care of.
wow.
So as soon as I get off the phone with you, I gotta go check on him. Maybe give him a little more meds and like it's just a big headache. But I mean,
Mm.
who knows what you'll be doing? Like nobody wants to see your browser history. Nobody wants to know what you're doing when these cameras go off. I'm just kidding, Rocco. You know I love you, man. You
I know. I
you
know.
know I love you. I just see you. Like I always like seeing you, man. You're and thank you and your cousin, you guys made up.
Oh yeah, Billy. Yeah.
Yeah, remember I made you make up. Like
Yes, yes.
the whole
You
I
were at the
saved your whole
show. We were
family. Your whole family was falling apart, and I put you guys together. I made you shake hands.
exactly. Thank you for that.
Yeah, like I love seeing you guys, and like so, and you guys are you two are the kind of fans that I talk about. Like you guys are the guys I do it for real, like for serious. Like it's just there's nothing better. There's no better feeling than when I can come out and I can see like there's a guy, there's a fan who comes up to me all the time, and he travels from Arkansas to come
Oh
to every
wow,
Battleground
that's
show,
a hike.
right? And he's
Yeah.
like, he's so appreciative, and he comes and he talks to me after every show, and he's like, I just flew in. He's got a little accent, and I'm like, man,
Wow.
we had this is on pay-per-view, you know that, right? And he's like, no, I gotta be here. It's different, and it's different, and I'm like, man, thank you so much. And like, this little things like that, like
Yeah.
that's the motivation to keep going. At the moment, I have a lot of things after WrestleMania that are going to be my motivation. My motivation is not so much to sell tickets. My motivation is to build a brand that everybody can be proud of. And I'm going to start touching on every genre of wrestling, not death match. We're at
Hmm.
the 2300 arena. I cannot break glass, and that's just not my jam. I'm not. But I will be paying homage to the people who have walked that path.
Okay. Okay.
Teaser. All right.
Sweet.
All right.
Well,
This you know what this is, right, Rocco?
that means I have to wrap it up. So I I will be going to the to the Battleground stuff on the 5th of April. That is my birthday, so I'm treating myself for my birthday.
Amazing. It's probably not your birthday. You're probably just like trying to angle for a free shirt.
I swear it is.
I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. I believe you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and doing the interview, and I will see you next week during Mania Week.
It's a week from Friday. I will see you there. And Rocco, thank you so much. I'm glad that I could use my fame to make you relevant for a
I
little bit.
know
Like you're gonna
exactly.
get so much. You're gonna get so many hits from this. You're gonna be like, wait a minute, if people are actually watching.
I know.
What's
Like
going on?
you're gonna be bigger than when I had Sly on here.
Who is that really? So is your name really Rocco, or you just like you're just a big Rocky fan?
No,
You just
that's
like
my name. Yeah.
you just like people going, no, Rocco, Rocco.
No, that was actually my dad's name, so they passed it down to me.
Nice. All right, I can't. I feel like I'm on the. I feel like I'm a psychiatrist on you because you're on the couch right now. Let's not get involved in that. We got to wrap. I got a sick bunny to go take care of.
I know exactly.
Rocco, thank you, my friend. I
Thank you,
appreciate you,
Tim.
man, and I look forward to
Thank you. I
seeing you April 5th.
appreciate it. All right. I
Absolutely.
will see you next week.
How does this wrap? You hit a button. How does
Yes.
this wrap up?
It's
You end it.